Hello and welcome back to another video. I hope you're having a great day. This is another video in the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript series. So let's just get to coding real fast. Before I do that, I want to check something out. Give me a second, please. I'm just going to pause the video. Okay, let me just go into full screen. Open our Visual Studio Code. Alright, that is another folder. Probably not want to open this right now. Do not want to open this. So I'll just close this and open up File Explorer. Go to Downloads and open. This was not it. This is it. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay. Let me also open my browser. All right. Let's restore it. Let's Django. Open up ChatGPT. Here it is. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay. So there's probably going to be a difference in the days that ChatGPT tells us about and the days that are written on the video. But that does not matter because just focus on learning. The days are not important. Okay, so day 5 done. What is this? Did it just come back, scroll to the top? I think it scrolled to the top for some reason. Okay, day 5 is done. We're building correctly. Let's continue. Multiple inputs plus validation for real forms. Today we step into real user interface behavior. Goal for today. Use multiple inputs. Read values cleanly. Validate user input. Share messages dynamically. We'll build a fake login form, no backend yet. Okay. Let's do that. You notice that H1 is now login. So let's change that. This is going to be probably our heading. Let's change it to login. Okay, there's an input field. Oh, got updated. Thank you so much. Okay, so there's an input tag or whatever this is input. The type it accepts is going to be a text. It has an ID of a username and a placeholder. It says username, and then there's BR is line break, right? Yeah, hold on. All right. There it is. Please load fast. Please load fast. is, what, it didn't paste. What is it called? The terminology. And what is BR called? What is it used for? The input tag, so it's a tag, is an element or a form control. We get that. The BR is also a tag, and the input is also a tag. So both of them are tags. And this tag is called a line break element. It is an empty element void, meaning it does not have to have a closing tag like this. It simply exists as a single tag. Okay, so we're getting two line breaks. A line break in text, okay? It is used when you want the next piece of content to start a new line without creating a new paragraph or a large block of space. Alright? Generally discouraged because it makes the layout brittle. Margin or display block gives you much more precise control over the spacing between your log and fields. My next question is, does double BR give double spaces? Is that going to be true? A double space effect in the sense that it creates one empty line between two elements. Here's exactly how the browser thinks. The first BR tag tells the browser to stop the current line and move the cursor to the very beginning of the next line. The second is now a fresh line with no text. Since the cursor is now a fresh line with no text, the second break moves the cursor down one more line, leaving that previous line completely empty. It's going to take the cursor to the third line because there's two line breaks. Alright, yeah. So the input is type text. You know you can give it any name for the ID. Since we're following what ChatGPT says, we're just gonna call this username. What the user is going to enter inside this is going to be the username. So let's call it username as well. That's to differentiate. I use a capital U over here and a small u over there. And then there's a line break. BR. Yeah, two lines. There is going to be spacing of two lines, and then again, placeholder for password this time. There's a placeholder for password. So yeah, let's type that down. There it is. Does not need an ending BR, probably. The thing or the type it is going to take in is a text, right? The ID, let's give it password. And the placeholder is going to say password. So this is what the user is going to see on the screen. Password. And then we have a button with a login button. We already have that? Okay. This is a bit different. We're working on different things this time. So let's just remove this one. We don't need this. Log in button. Alright, let's do that. Log in button. There it is. And we have a paragraph tag. The message. Alright. So when we log in, it's going to tell the user something, I guess. And then the script is at the end. Okay. New HTML concept. Type is equal to password hides text automatically. Hides text automatically. Alright, so let's do that. Yes, password. Lovely. Alright. before I do anything else, I want to see if my microphone is correctly working. Hello, test check 1 2 3. Check 1 2 3. Hello, test check 1 2 3. Alright, my microphone is working perfectly. Hello, test 1 2 3. Alright. Alright, okay. Small improvement. Add this to the style.css message. So you notice it's just ID, right? And in the style, this time we're targeting the message using hashtag. We're using a hashtag to target, to modify the message. There is a space. Does the space matter? You notice that it doesn't recognize message, although there is an ID for message. Margin at the top is 15 pixels. Margin top 16 pixels. Alright, it picked it up somehow. I mean, it read our message. The warning is gone. 15 pixels. And then we have a font size of 16 pixels. There's gonna be like a, not a, it's gonna be like a size, it's gonna be like a space at the top. Font size 16 pixels. So we added a margin at the top and we reset the font size for whatever is going to be in the message to 16 pixels. Margin at the top only. So the rest of the areas are not going to have a margin. Although, you remember that in the first few videos, it did give it like a default margin or something. There was like a default spacing, or it was a margin, I think. Everything else unchanged. Replace everything in script with this. Hold it, please. First, before we move on to that, I do want to see what stuff do we have here. The body, alright. Yeah, this is the body. We don't need this anymore. We don't need the background transition. There's just one color. Input. Do we have something like that says input? We do not have anything for the input. We have something for the button. Alright. Validation logic. Alright. So the body is being styled. We have a button. Yes, we do. And we also have a message. Alright. And we're targeting the message using hashtag. And the rest of the stuff we're directly accessing the, what do you call the tags? The body and the button. The button and the body. Alright. Let's move on to the script. Alright, so we're accessing the login button over here. You know, we can just change parts of this. There it is. Login button. We get that. It's declared as a const. We're getting it with the element get element by ID. Because it does have an ID, right? We're accessing it using that. And then just eliminate this line. We don't need it right now. And now comes the add event listener. So whatever, we're adding an event listener to the login button. So whenever someone clicks on it, this is going to call the login button. Lovely. Alright, so there's already an event listener over here. We can just change the names. Also, there's already a function, so we don't need to do much. So when someone clicks on it, it's going to call the login function. There it is. I forgot the semicolon, but they're already there. So no worries. Next, it is time to work on the actual function. So what we have so far, you can see all this. Let's just put this into Gemini and ask and get a few details about it, not too much. Tell me about this. What is const? Const stands for constant. It is a keyword used to declare a variable that cannot be reassigned a new value later in your code. Think of it as a permanent label. Once you point that label at something, you are not allowed to point it at something else. So that means I'm creating a variable that won't change. Alright. So constant. It's the same story. It's constant. It doesn't change. That's it. Cannot be reassigned a new value later in your code. For a thing that stays the same, like a button on a page, it's going to stay the same, so we use const for that. Alright, so a button is going to stay the same, and that is what we're going to use for that. Alright, so what is next? Okay, so username, password, and message. Again, 3 constants, and we're getting them by their ID, because each one of them has an ID. Notice the difference in the first two. We're actually getting the value. It's going to get the value from the input. Whatever value we typed into the input, it's going to get that. Alright. Also, we're going to get the element by ID message. We're going to store it as that message. Yeah, these are variables. We're putting stuff inside them. Also, notice that message initially doesn't have anything. After the comparison, you see, it's going to add a message. It's going to attach an inner text, and this is what it's going to say with a red color. It's going to return that. Wow, we can return stuff and if else. Wow, and JavaScript is so different and a bit cooler. Alright, so first, yeah. Let's rename this to login. Here it is. What are we going to do next? 3 variables and get them by their ID. Okay, username, password, and message. Let's do that. Const username, const password, and then const message. Alright, all 3 declared. And now let's initialize them. So document get element capital E by ID. What is it called? First is the username. It's simply called username, so I'm just going to type it down. And that's it. But what we're accessing is the value that the user has typed in that field. Next, in that placeholder, I mean. And then again, get element by ID. Alright, auto completed. Lovely. Now we're not applying anything right now. And then password, is it this password? It is just password. And then finally get that. Get element by ID. It's called message. And notice that message is just an empty paragraph tag. It does not have any sort of text inside it. And that is why, even if it acts as a value, there is nothing inside it. But I don't know about the specifics. Maybe it has something like an empty string or something. I don't know how JavaScript works under the hood. But this is what I currently think about it. I might be wrong at some point. You can tell me in the comments. Alright, let's move to the next part. which is the if else. If both of them are empty, it's going to say this. Alright, let's do this. Also, let me see, what time is it? Oh, it's, okay. Alright, so, listen up everybody. We're gonna, like, continue from here, most probably, and then we'll complete this some other day. So, that's it for today. Let me just close the brackets. Let me say this. And this. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, also, we'll do this probably in some other video. Some other day. Bye-bye.